Gods, Guns and Missionaries, The Making of the Modern Hindu Identity by Manu S. Pillai, published by Penguin Books. Pillai handled this subject sensitively with nuanced way. It's 600 pages book, but don't be bothered about the size of the book. Almost half of the pages goes to notes section, may be necessary compulsion for this subject. As Pillai wrote, Vedic culture with its fire altars and sacrifices, promoted by Indo-Aryans, made competition from cults that venerated gods in images. This encounter caused Hindu practice to emerge by the end of the first millennium CE as a grand system of temple worship. Buddhism and Jainism sponged away patronage, and though they faded, these two marked the landscape with hybridity. Then came Islam from overseas. It could neither be defied, given its proximity to power, nor absorbed into one of India's capacious traditions. Here a more uncertain adaptation appeared. Finally came the trauma of colonialism. Backed by withering evangelical Christian attacks, the theme of this book, birthing yet another phase for Hinduism. Tremendous research goes into this book. As author wrote, the orthodox tradition of Brahmin elites envisioned a world of 4 caste groups, functioning in carefully policed harmony. At the top sat, of course, Brahmin themselves, guarding the gates of divine access. Then came Kshatriyas, or a ruling class, whose duty was to protect Brahmins and the world they had designed. The Vaishyas were the productive classes, followed by a fourth set in the Shudras, or a general mass, to serve everybody else. In actual fact, though, this division never existed in such perfection in most of India. It was an aspiration, the portrayal of an ideal Brahmin world, rather than reality as it existed. Hinduism as it would emerge was not so much what Brahmins wanted. Instead, it is the story of their negations with a bewildering variety of counter thoughts and alternate visions. Change is coded into its DNA. Pillai further wrote, while Puranic culture grew into a vast ocean, it is important to remember that the Brahminical stream, no matter how big and forceful, still only one amongst numerous others flowing into it. What made the difference, however, was that Brahmins went out of their way to identify each river and claim for it a common source with others. In creating an overarching explanatory frame, they sought unity while maintaining a formal supremacy for themselves and their ideas. So long as the Vedas were not denied and the caste superiority of Brahmins were accepted, practically anybody holding a variety of ideas could be brought into the frame. It is this many-faced, multi-layered system that we today call Hinduism. This was not a religion with one book or one fount, but that did press it together was belief in similar myths and legends, told and retold in multiple forms and languages. As author wrote about polarization, ingredients always existed in India to support a binary between Muslims and non-Muslims. And in some contexts and spaces, this alerted Hindus, despite their various differences, to the possibility of political oneness. That is, if Brahminism held a consciousness of unity faced with an opponent, that feeling would slowly harden. In the modern age, which pushed political integration, introduced technology such as the press and the need to stand up to colonialism, new meaning was invested in broad-based levels. Two ideas appeared of the Indian nation, a pluralistic one with room for all, celebrating syncretic aspects of the Hindu-Muslim encounter, and another equating India with a Hindu nation, galvanized by memories of persecution by Muslim kings and, as we shall see, Christian colonialists. Logic could be found for both. Writing about colonial history, Pillai started with the arrival of the Portuguese in India in the late 15th century, and further wrote British people's effort to understand the land. They would not only fall back on half-boiled theories, but also infuse these with power and certainty. Indeed, by the 1860s, it would be entirely normal for British judges in India, citing white scholars of Hinduism, ailing with Protestant-style Hindu reformers, to declare centuries-old sects as contrary to the ancient and thus real Hindu religion. Men would remark coolly that books which were written after the Vedas lacked merit, that no living sect at present was genuinely Hindu. This is not to say that Hindus passively absorbed these European notions, but even in battling colonialism and its ideological filters shaped by Christianity, Western contexts, the Enlightenment and plain misreading, certain European filters were nonetheless co-opted. It was in these circumstances that Hinduism's current avatar emerged, with one foot in tradition, the other in European sensibilities and confusion. Past is much complicated than the popular narrative. Colonial pressure along with the rise of nationalism led to a tendency towards regimentation, and this led to a homogenization which is alien to Hinduism. Author wrote in detail about aggressive Neo-Hinduism of Tilak and Savarkar, influenced by Brahminical and Vedic core, and also from early 20th century Italy and Germany. Also kings like Madho Singh, Sarpoji of Tanjore, social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Dayanand Saraswati, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule. After reading this book, I felt this is incomplete, maybe because of the sheer scope of this subject and coverage of colonial era history regarding this theme. I hope we will get to read more on the same subject from the author in his future books. Enjoy this remarkable and insightful book. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and share this video. Do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.